I'm doing some shots of West Overton. It's a place that's interested me for quite a while, down in the southern part of Westmoreland County in East Huntington Township. We have a rather interesting combination of ingredients down there that has fascinated me for some time as an example of that transition that has happened from the older agricultural economy to the what happened when the Industrial Revolution showed up here in the 1800s, the machine age. You see it very much at West Overton, as you do at a few other places. Another place that it is significant is over at St. Vincent. You can see the same thing happening. I was at St. Vincent for a number of years and became interested in, the various elements that created the place. The one thing that you see at St. Vincent that you don't see at West Overton was the element of education. It's not that they were not interested in education at West Overton, but the interest just wasn't quite that intense. But they both institutions were founded from Germany. They both had a very much religious background, which formed their philosophy, and they're hardworking people. They established a lot of stuff. First, being involved in the agricultural economy, which branched out into alcohol. I mean, at West Overton, it was distilling. At St. Vincent, it was brewing, and growing things to eat, and farm, and then mining and various types of production, which became very important issues at both of those places. So it's with that in mind that I'm trying to put together some pieces and parts of that thinking, and also visual images that we can use to tell a picture. What we're focusing on this time is West Overton. I just talk a little bit about St. Vincent to give a comparison. And with that, I push another button and say. At this point, you probably realize we're not dealing with high-budget, slick and shiny productions here. Just little attempts to pass along bits and pieces of local history. This is a context shot showing West Overton in context. This is Scottdale over here. Over to the right, going north, is 119. And coming up to meet 119 is 819. And 819 goes right past West Overton. We'll show it a little bit closer here. This is West Overton from up in the air, showing what's left of what was a very booming agricultural industrial complex once upon a time. There have been attempts to create an historic district there, and these buildings that remain have been preserved. Fortunately, a lot of them are from the 1850s, some of them from earlier than that. Another shot showing 819 going up past. Up in the north here of West Overton, there was once a battery of coke ovens. Now we're looking up the road going into West Overton from out on 819. This is the mill, was the mill and the distillery. It is now a museum. The mansion of the complex is sitting back behind this tree, and you can see more or less agricultural buildings sitting around. Here another view looking at the complex. This is really a duplication, trying to create memory that there were once coke ovens here. It's a reconstruction of a coke oven, but it was not there. The actual coke ovens were north of this complex. This is further up 819. This is the mill and distillery down here. This was once the home of Benjamin Franklin Overholt, one of the members of the Overholt family. A little bit further up, you see the home of, this was Christian Overholt's home and store. Henry Clay Frick grew up here, as his mother was an Overholt. And as he was a young fellow, he did clerking at this very store, his Uncle Overholt's store. Looks back here, Don 119 towards Scottdale. This is the entrance to West Overton, showing the buildings, historic buildings. These smaller buildings were houses of some of the people who worked there, some of them being relatives of the family. This was July 4th, 1998. I was taking my dog Barney for a walk down what's the main drag of West Overton. And you see they were trying to stabilize some of these historic structures, in as much as they were at that point in somewhat of a well, compromised condition, and they were trying to preserve them from worse happening. In the meantime, good things have happened. This was one of the major products at West Overton. They since the early 1800s, they were brewing whiskey there. It was a lucrative field to get in, brewing liquor. And I'm told Old Overholt is still bottled and produced at some place in this country, but not at West Overton anymore. And I'll see you again. We'll show another little production or productions about West Overton, showing things about the buildings and the history of the place. And that will be enough for right now. So long now.